for helping these people become martyrs. But the height of akhlaq of Imam Ali is that just in case I hurt you, as he hasn't committed a haram, because at the end of the day, it's not his fault they died. But please forgive me because this was never my intention.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a very famous conversation between the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, Imam Ali alayhi salam, when he's sending him to Yemen, telling him about the importance of the amount of the reward that he would receive if he were to convert just one person to Islam.
Yes,
and obviously it's something that we can,
yes,
and it's obviously something that we can definitely, inshallah, take on board. Was he successful? Because I know that not only did he go, I think beforehand Khalid bin Walid was actually sent, and then afterwards Imam Ali alayhi salam went to some tribes in Yemen. Was he able to convert anybody there?
Yes, definitely. And he went on 2 expeditions to Yemen. One in the 8th year after Hijrah and one in the 10th year after Hijrah. Khalid bin Walid had gone and he had spent a while there, 6 months, and he couldn't convert them. Khalid bin Walid, let's say, maybe he's more renowned for his swordsman skills than he is for his ability to speak to people and actually be diplomatic, as Malik ibn Nuwayra's story would clearly confirm. In terms of Imam Ali alayhi salam, Imam goes to the people of Yemen, and he goes in the midwinter time. And this is just before the farewell Hajj. As many people imagine, when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa went to Hajj, Imam Ali was with him. No, Imam Ali joined him from Yemen. So he went in the midwinter time. At first, they didn't welcome him. They actually started hurling stones towards him and the people around him. It's very interesting that he doesn't take it forward and actually fight them. He holds back and he says to them, listen, Madhaj and Hamadan, I haven't come here to fight you. I've come here to try and teach you about the message of the religion of Islam. And they hear his words and they are absolutely enchanted by his language. And it really goes to show you the difference, where Khalid bin Walid went hostile and he even, ransacked some of their houses and nobody converted. Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen went there and he was able to bring them towards the religion of Islam. And this brought him animosity later, because Khalid would go and tell the Prophet that, this man, yes, he bought victory, but he's taken some of the spoils for himself. And this angered Rasulullah. And that's why some people said, yes, when Rasulullah said, Man kuntu mawla, Father Ali mawla, it's because he's trying to tell them that, look, Ali is whoever I'm a friend of, Ali is also my friend. That, of course, has got nothing to do with the incident, because of the verse which put the context of Alastu awla bikum min anfusikum, al-nabiyyu awla bil mu'minin min anfusihim. So you find that that particular, incident was Imam Ali guiding one person, he guided the whole of humanity. And that's a message for all of us, that, sometimes when you go towards certain people in the world, and you can tell they're stubborn, there's 2 things to do. Either you walk to a more humble people, or be patient with them, and they'll come towards the religion.
Okay. At the Fath of Makkah, the opening, or it's called the conquest, but obviously it wasn't a military conquest, although there were some skirmishes. When the Prophet was cleansing the Holy Kaaba, I remember reading in many historical books that there was a particular idol, I think it was Hubal, that the Holy Prophet, or maybe because of where it was positioned or something, that he'd actually ordered Imam Ali alayhi salam to stand on his shoulders to get rid of this.
Sure.
I mean, is there anything symbolic we should read into this, or not really?
I think the Imam's words on that particular incident are very interesting, where the Imam states, it was such an honor for me. Below me was rahmatan lil alameen, and above me was Rabb al alameen. It's like, it was outstanding. It's like, I'm on the shoulders of the mercy to mankind, and above me is the Lord of the universe. But what it does highlight is that it really required bravery to enter that day. You've got Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam returning against the people who he had killed their brothers or sons or fathers. Would you believe? He even went into his own sister's house, Fakhita. She was married to someone who was very close to the Meccan aristocrats. So the Prophet tells him, go into Fakhita's house, but wear something to cover yourself, and grab her husband and get out. So when he enters, she looks at him. She doesn't know who he is. She says, get out of my house. So he says, where's your husband? She says, how dare you enter my house? Do you know who my brother is? She says, "Do you know who my brother is?" So he says, "Tell me where your husband is." She said, "If my brother knew that you entered my house like this, you don't know what he'd do to you." So he removes the mask and he says, "It's your brother, Ali. Where's your brother? Where's your husband?" And went to show you that Imam Ali, family, friends, nobody gets in his way when it comes to serving Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
This reminds me of a particular incident in the Battle of Jamal, where after Imam Ali salam had overcome the enemy, he'd sent Muhammad ibn Abu Bakr
Correct, with Malik al-Ashtar, correct. And so when he sent them, he asked Malik to cut the feet of the camel, and then the Aisha, who was sitting in the carriage, would fall from the carriage, and so he sent the other companion to pick her up. So when she fell, Muhammad bin Abu Bakr picked her up. She said, "Remove your hands from the body of the wife of Rasulullah." And he replied, "It's Muhammad, your brother, who's picked you up." So he picked the exact person who's the only one who could pick her up.
Out of respect for obviously who she was. Okay, thank you very much. And something else that's always bothered me, the Treaty of Hudaybiyah. We know that the actual writer or the scribe was Imam Ali alayhi salam. But as you know, there was a particular point where Suhail said, "Well, if I believed you were the messenger of Allah, we wouldn't be having this treaty in the first place." And the Prophet asked Imam Ali alayhi salam to rub off the Rasulullah bit.
Correct.
Which Imam, how can I say, politely declined, refused to, whatever it was. How are we to understand this? I mean, if this is an infallible human being who's been ordered by the messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to do something, and he, whether he does it politely or not, doesn't, how are we to really explain this in a way that makes sense?
I think the only reason people tend to ask on this particular incident is because of the fact that there is a later incident where a certain companion, when the Prophet tells him, "Bring me a pen and paper," says, "You are delirious, the Quran is enough for us." So people said, that companion said, "You are delirious, the Quran is enough." Well, Ali ibn Abi Talib at Hudaybiyah declined what Rasulullah wanted to be done. But let's look at the difference. That companion who said, "You are delirious," not only uses that language, but then makes a suggestion as to what really should be done. Whereas Imam Ali says, when Rasulullah says to him, "Rub off my name," he says, "Ya Rasulullah, would you excuse me from having to rub off your name?" As in, that's a sign of love. That your name, I don't want to be the one who wipes off the name Muhammad from any paper. But he doesn't then say, "And I think what you should do is keep your name." That would be then him questioning the position of the person. In the other incident, he's like, "The Quran is enough for us." In this situation, no. It's like, "Ya Rasulullah, would you excuse me from having to rub off your name?" Then Rasulullah says to him, "Ali, it will happen to you one day." In the Battle of Siffin, when it was written, "Ali Amir al-Mu'mineen," Amr ibn As said, "If we believed you Amir al-Mu'mineen, we're not going to come and fight here," and he rubbed it off. So you find that Imam Ali is saying it out of affection, without then saying what he should do. Because he knows Rasulullah is right. But there is that sense of affection with the father figure.
And we've only got a few minutes left. I wanted us to maybe touch upon the justice of Imam Ali alayhi salam. I mean, there's so many other incidents we could talk about during the life of the Holy Prophet, but because of time, just generally, I suppose here we're looking more the life after the Holy Prophet, when he actually became the Caliph himself, I suppose.
Yes.
Was he a just Caliph? Did he appoint the right people to the right posts? Or, were there ulterior motives to his appointments? Was it his family members or people who he just liked, regardless of their akhlaq?
Well, George Jordak, the Lebanese Christian, answers this in the best way when he says Imam Ali, the voice of human justice, as the title of his book. And he wants to make it clear that this is the embodiment of justice on earth in a number of ways. As in, I believe we should focus on Imam Ali's justice when we describe him, because the world recognizes the importance of the principle of justice. Go to any human being in the world today and they'll tell you justice is needed in society. Justice is of the utmost importance in our lives, in bringing together a peaceful coexistence within the society within which we live. And his justice, first and foremost, there is a love of justice instilled in him by Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa. Because Rasulullah came to a land which needed injustice removed and justice to be raised. That's number one. Number two, there is a love of justice even when he's not Caliph. If he sees injustice when he's not Caliph, he'll speak out. When Uthman ibn Affan's governor of Kufa, Walid ibn Uqba, led Salat al-Fajr drunk, and Uthman wouldn't punish him because his brother-in-law, Imam Ali, went and punished him. Then when he became caliph, how many years was he caliph? 4.5 years. In those 4.5 years, Islam has never witnessed justice like Imam Ali's 4.5 years as Khalif of the Islamic State. First, justice with family. Aqil, when he tells him, give me from the treasury. You've got so much money under him. And he tells Aqil, why don't we go to the markets and open the boxes of the people and take their money? He says, these are innocent people who've worked hard for their money. So the Imam says, so if you think they're innocent, so how comes you're willing to take from the treasury of the Islamic State, which also belongs to them? In terms of with family, with friends, Talha and Zubair, when they came to see him, and there was a candle in front of him, he blew out the candle, and he put another candle. They said to him, why did you just blow out the first candle and you put another one? He said, the first candle has been purchased from the money of the Muslims. You've come to see me over a private issue. I should put a candle purchased by Ali ibn Abi Talib. So you find that they were amazed, as in like, it's just a candle. But no, that candle from the public money, you've come to see me over a private issue, I'll bring one of my own candles and use it. Family, friends, non-Muslims. When he walks in the street, sees a Christian begging on the ground. He says to his companions, who is this? They say, a Christian beggar. He says, why is he begging? He said, he's an old man, he's got no job, he's begging. He said, I will not move from here until this man is helped and sponsored by one of you. Because people are of two types, remember, according to the philosophy of Imam Ali alayhi salam. They are either your brothers in faith or your equals in humanity. So that was with the non-Muslims. You find that on every level of justice you needed within society, Imam was able to establish. And really his justice at the end was what caused his killing. Because there were people who couldn't take such strict justice. They wanted the days where it was carefree spending and who you were married to depended on how much you got from the treasury and what your lineage was depended on how position you got. With Imam Ali alayhi salam, even when he came into power, Talha and Zubair came and said, one said, I want to be governor of Basra. Another said, I want to be governor of Kufa. He said, no. He said, there are people who can do that job. They said, we were those who fought for the religion. And we converted to Islam early, and you give to them. Imam said, if it's about fighting for the religion, nobody fought like me. And if it's about converting early, I was born into the religion. So there are instances of this justice, which unfortunately, because of the envy of the people, they ended up wanting to attack him.
Okay, and
though the Egyptians have got in general sentiments and emotions towards Ahlulbayt, till now they respect Ahlulbayt, they visit their shrines, they call their children after the names of Ahlulbayt. So politically, Shia Islam was banned. Then the Sheikh of Al-Azhar, Sheikh Mahmoud Shaltut, gave a fatwa, verdict, in the middle of the 20th century that the Jafari school of thought, Shia Islam, is one of the recognized Islamic sects. And any Muslim, as he can be, according to him, Hanafi or Shafi'i or Hanbali or Maliki, he can be also Shia Muslim. Because, in fact, Al-Azhar scholars were facing severe problems.
just take that and then we'll come back to this in a minute, inshallah. Thank you very much for calling in. Assalamu alaikum.
Hello?
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Yes, brother, thank you for calling in. Your question, please.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Assalamu alaikum.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الشيخ محمد الموسوي، كيف حالك يا شيخ؟
الحمد لله رب العالمين على هدايته لدينه. الحمد للله.
Smells the soil, the sand, the dust that is around Ahmad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The one who smells the sand, merely smelling the sand in his hand, should not smell anything evil in his life. هذه فاطمة. If you want to learn from the madrasa of Fatima, here is the madrasa of Fatima to Zahra.